it up a little bit. Threw a lot more pitches. Guys threw a lot more pitches, up 25 to 30. Some guys threw in the 40 range, which was good. So the boys look good.
For you at camp at this point, as guys are ramping up, what makes it a good day?
Yeah, just everybody seems like they're healthy. We're watching mechanics. We're watching how the ball comes out of their hand. The work was crisp. The energy was good. So all in all, when we talk after practice, everybody has nothing but good things to say how they went about their business. So that's good. Yeah, he's they're building that relationship. So he threw the ball really well today. Like I said, a little bit more oomph on his fastball. His changeup was a little bit crisper. His breaking ball was good. So and he ramped it up a little bit. He did 2 ups in the bullpen. So he's very routine oriented, which I love. So we're going to make sure that we stick to his routine.
What you learned about him? What's going to be like to tell that he's on the right track? That he's
Yeah, I mean, look, this he's had success at a very early age. I know he had some hiccups with some injuries, but he's an unbelievable competitor. That's something that you can't really teach. I mean, he gets fired up. He's engaged. He's got a plan every time he throws a pitch. He knows himself really, really well and what he wants to do. So, we just, for me and Hick and we just got to keep an eye on him and see what's really working for him and make sure that we stay on that plan and make sure that his routine is what he wants it to be. If we have to make adjustments later on, but right now, by sitting down with him and talking to him, I mean, he's got a great idea of what he wants to do every day.
PJ honestly had a great second half last year. What tells you as you watching his bullpen better options? What tells you he's still on that track?
Yeah, he's been really, really good. He really has. I mean, another guy that you can see the growth. Towards the end of the year and coming into spring training, I think he's got that feeling like, hey, I belong here. There's no more feel like, hey, this. I think he really understands that. Hey, I could pitch here. He wants to pitch here and he wants to do well. But his spring training has been really good so far.
What specifically are you looking at in the bullpen?
Just the strike throwing with him. I mean, early in his career, he was all over the place. This year, the big thing for me is to make sure that he's throwing balls over the place. We talk about being north and south, not east and west. He's really good when the ball is over that white part of the plate. And he does have that swing and miss, a lot when he's doing that way. So, and that's the key for him, not, to constantly pound the strike zone.
You see him in the first inning, always seems he's a little erratic. You see him settle in last year. What's the key to making sure that right from the jump he's doing that?
It's controlling his heartbeat. It really is. I mean, he gets fired up. He's very intense, and he goes out there, and you could tell that when he first comes out, he likes to work really quick. Sometimes he gets too quick. It's about slowing him down, and all of a sudden, when he gets through it, he goes back to second inning, from second inning to 5th or 6th inning. He's more under control. So we tell him all the time, but we thought about changing the routine coming in, but we don't want to do it. We don't want him throwing 40 pitches down the bullpen before he comes in the game. But he's got to understand that just slow your heartbeat down a little bit, because he comes out, he's amped up. He's ready to go. He wants to go. As you can see, he runs out there. He's the first guy running out there. When he's in. But we tell him, hey, you're just quick. Slow everything down. And when he does that, he's really good.
How do you get him to learn from last season without dwelling on last season?
It's been interesting because he didn't like anything from last year. He really didn't. I mean, he was very, I wouldn't say upset, but he was down on himself because he knew he's better, right? So, and that's great, and the focus is you can't do nothing about the past. You learn from what you've done, but understand why you're here. I mean, you're a frontline catcher. You got paid like a frontline catcher, and you're going to be that frontline catcher. That's what I want him to take away. This spring, he's been more vocal. He's had meetings on his own with the catchers. He's talked to the pitchers. He's been incredible. So I think this year he's taken more ownership on not only what he should be, what he thinks it should be, but as far as the team's concerned, he wants to feel like, hey, I need these guys. These guys need me. I'm going to take control of what I can, and he's been really good with it.
Do you think the contract, one, does it gives him security, but does it give him something that he feels like he lives up to and that he has to live up to? And secondly, does it put pressure on you to put him in the lineup every day because this is the guy that committed to?
In honesty, he's always talked to me about wanting to play more. I've given him the days he needed. I definitely want him out there because he's still young. I think the pressure comes for him is wanting to show everybody that he's worth the contract. And I tell him all the time that that's not, for me, that's not what you're trying to do. You're just trying to go out there and play. We know what you can do. Don't try to live up to the hype of making a lot of money. Just go out there and play baseball the way you've played your whole life. You've had good numbers throughout the minor leagues. You've done really well here when you were here for a short period of time. And every year it seems like the second half has been better. But it's catching. Last year, the second half, he started throwing runners out. And it's something that he worked out all year. But, and we tell him all the time, hey, it's going to click. You're going to get better, but you got to keep working on it, and he did that. And he felt a lot better throwing guys out, blocking balls. So the hitting for me is I said, you can hit. And I've seen it, you got to understand what you want to hit. And that's what he's at with Darnell right now, trying to understand what balls he's really good at hitting and just focusing on that balls, and everything else will go away. I always say, hey, as a coach and a manager, we try to find what guys are really, really good at, make them the best at that. And it seems like everything else will clean itself up.
I know that you've really emphasized PFPs this spring. Is there anything different in the structure of the workout? Is there anything you've done different than that, or is it just about the pitcher just being better?
Yeah, I told them all before first day camp that I want to see the intensity. I don't want to see you guys come off the mound just kind of, do it game speed, get to the ball, gather yourself, take your step, throw the ball, throw a strike to, wherever base you're throwing to. I want to see that. I don't want to see you just kind of coming off the mound, and it's been really, really, really good. I know I joked around today with you guys about Shino, but man, he was really, really good, and that's impressive. But that's kind of what we want to see, getting off the mound, getting to the ball and getting out, right? I mean, I told these guys, hey, we don't want to see a spectacular play. We just want to see you make the routine play and just get it out. But you got to do it game speed in order to be effective in a game. You got to push yourself to do it, as quick as you possibly could do it. And so far they've been really good at it.
How do you replicate the game views and also the pressure, so you can go quick and make the play? How do you kind of replicate that?
Yeah, so for the first couple of days we're doing what we're doing, but we plan on using base runners and having bunters and really getting them come off the mound and getting some really good game speed work done. So it's hard to emulate, but the quicker they get off the mound, the quicker they do it. And there's some drills that we'll do later on with them to get them to understand, what it takes. The average runner, the first base runs about a 4.7, so by the time they get to the mound and get to the ball, they should be able to throw the ball over there underneath that. So we're going to do some stuff with that and time them. We have these big clocks and show them, how fast you really got to go and how much time sometimes you have.
Not to pick on one guy, but Mitchell.
We'll pick on him. We're going to pick on him.
Good. So, I mean, is he aware of how important that is for him?
I told him last year, you screwed the pooch a couple of times because you couldn't make the play. That's not going to happen this year. We're going to make sure you make the play, and we might have you out here taking 50 balls after you throw. So, and he's all for it because he wants to get better.
Everybody does this stuff in the spring training, and then months later it happens in the game, and you put the think back to that. Does there need to be more of this in the season to kind of keep it fresh on everybody's mind?
Yeah, we 100%. The fundamentals we have to sustain the fundamentals throughout the year as well. And we've done a pretty good job last year of trying to get these guys out there with some, and you could joke around about it, but if you don't come first base the next day, you were out there getting 40 balls. We have early work and they go out there and they cover first base, and it's not really a punishment. It's just, hey, you got to do it. It's an out, right? I mean, it creates. If you do these things, the big innings go away. So these guys, they understand it, and like I said, they want to get better at it. When they do fumble the ball, if you could see what I see in the dugout, it's not pretty. They get pretty upset about it. So I told him, I said, I don't want to see you that way, because you know what, you got to get back on that mound, next inning, and you got to compete. So the best way to not feel that way is to make the play, and we'll make sure that we're going to do everything we can so that doesn't happen to them.
You guys have a lot of height at camp.
Talking about me?
Yeah. For you as a manager, just generally, what has that been like? And also, do you feel that as a purposeful part of the organization, and that's something you guys identify, or that just happens?
I think honestly, I don't. I know we like bigger guys, we really do, but it so happens that we have so many now in camp. I mean, big. Like you sit there, and I'm telling myself now, I said, when I go out to the mountain and talk to some of these guys, I have to tell them to step back so I can, be eye to eye with these guys, because they are getting big. I've seen Soroka pitch against us before. I never really knew he was that big of a kid neither. I mean, he's big, and stout, but I love it. The angle is different when you're that big coming off the mound. So, it's and they're big, but they're very agile. A lot of these guys move pretty good for being such a big guy. Stewart, he's a big guy, but I watched him. He moves really well. So it's kind of nice to have those guys that big. If we have to get in a little scuffle, it's nice to have those guys on our side.
You mentioned the angle, and I guess the toughness is a benefit. What do you have to be cognizant of with that side?
It's just, it's for me, it's just watch their body language, kind of watch, really. I've said this, I don't know how many times, but in our selling point, we're getting some guys here. It's all medical staff. They've been really good on keeping these guys on the field, keeping them healthy. Hence the reason why I really feel like between them and our pitching coaches, why we have guys going 30 starts, and hopefully this year we have a few that could throw 200 innings, and guys in the bullpen like Lar, giving us 80 plus innings. But our medical staff is really on top of all that stuff every day. We get information every day. We're on top of that stuff so that we can keep them healthy. But a testament is the way these guys come into camp right now. They're in shape. They're ready to go. So we could push them to do the little things that we want to do.
What do you hope Josiah benefits or gets out of being a camper on the team?
Oh, he wants to be around the guys. He's that guy. He feels like, and he is. He's a big part of our team. And when he comes back, he's going to help us win games. So I want him doing all the things that he can do with the team. I know he's limited right now, but to see him out there just going through the motions with the guys and talking, having conversation with the guys, that's awesome.
He was saying he was watching throwing sessions today, and then he said it was also kind of cool to be able to see the behind the scenes work as well. How would you describe him as like a student of the game when he's not able to be pitching? Yeah, he's constantly wanting to learn, and he's constantly watching. I know he watches the guys' mechanics, their release points, the way they spin the ball, the fastball, the fastballs work on certain guys. He's back there. I saw him talking to Doolittle today about some spin stuff, but he definitely wants to learn, definitely wants to get better. So, I love, I've said this before, I love having him around, and I want him around as much as possible. We know that he's got to get his work in, but as much as he's around, it'd be great.
Derek Law was on the schedule to throw bullpen games. Is he healthy, or does he manage them differently?
Yeah, we're kind of gonna manage him different. I kind of tell him that we're gonna put him on the floral plan because he's pitched so much. We're gonna kind of ease his way back into the thing. I mean, he's a guy that I called upon him a lot. He's gonna pitch a lot. He understands that. So we're just gonna kind of keep him on a slow play a little bit. He doesn't. We talked to him. He doesn't really need that much. He knows what he needs to do. So he threw a flat ground, yesterday. He said he felt fine. So we're just gonna keep him on that program.
Are there any other pitchers in a similar situation based on previous workloads?
No, I think everybody's been good. You'll see everybody We got our first lives tomorrow, so that'll be interesting. You know, it's watch him face some hitters.
Talking both about slow heartbeats and tall figures, Jake Irvin, when a guy has kind of figured it out mentally like he has, both on the field and the clubhouse, what's the next step for him when he's kind of figured out how he likes to do everything?
Yeah, the biggest thing is consistency. Continue to do what he's doing. Don't try to search for more. You know, it's going to happen. You know, we talked a lot about, you know, he's really wants to go deeper in games. You know, he wants to, and I tell him, hey, that's great. You know, and what we look for every 5 days is 21 outs. All right, anything above that is fantastic, but that's the goal for you. You know, and we'll go from there. So he understands about, you know, the pitches per inning. You know. And he wants to get quick outs. You know, he's the one guy who says, you know, he really focuses on 3 pitches or less to try to get hitters out because he knows that that's going to keep him in the game longer. But that's his focus, is to try to get as much as he can and try to get outs as quick as possible.
That didn't happen as much in the second half last season. Having an offseason to kind of diagnose that. What is your diagnosis?
Yeah, I honestly believe that part of it, and I talked with him. He ran out of juice at the end. He really did, you know. But he was a workhorse, you know. And he got us. I told him before. I said, you know, I really felt like you were first half of the season. You could have been an all-star. You really could have, you know. And it was, you know, to get 30 starts and pitch the way he did. It's most he's ever done. So we're going to build off of that. And I think he understands now. I mean, he's worked really hard to get himself in the best shape he possibly could be in, and now he wants those 200 innings, which is awesome, you know. And if we do the things we're capable of doing, I told him you'll get 200 plus, you know. So you know we'll shoot for that.